Right. So functions. First, we'll define what is a function. We understand what is a function. Okay. So in C programming, we might have written some functions knowingly and unknowingly, like printf, scanf function you have used. So if you understand why you have used those functions, say printf you have used to print some text on the onto the screen, or some value of a variable, or values present in an array, or values of a structure variable. Okay, so if you want to print onto the screen, then you have used printf function. Okay, so that means its purpose is to print the output onto the monitor. Then scanf function you have used. What for you have used scanf? To read data from the keyboard. Okay, so whenever there is a need to read data from the keyboard, you have used numerical data. You have used scanf function. Similarly, when you want to read a multi-word string, then you have used gets function. Okay, so all these functions are defined for particular purpose. Yes or no? So scanf function, using scanf, can you display something onto the screen? No, you cannot. Okay, using scanf, can you read a multi-word string? No, you cannot. Okay, so each function has its own purpose, and you have to use that function for that purpose only. Okay, so hope you got a idea of a function. So what is a function? A function is a sub-program. It looks like a program, but it is not a program. Okay, so when there is main inside the program, then we call it as a program. If main is not there, then it is not called a program. It is a sub-program. It looks like a program, but it is not actually program. You cannot directly execute that function. Okay, right. It is a subprogram containing a block of statements that performs a specific task. For performing a specific task, okay, say for example, finding square root of a function number is there. So for that, you have used sqrt function. So that sqrt function always finds the square root of a number. Given a number to that, it gives you square root of that number. That's all. Other than this, it won't do any other task. Okay, right? So that means for specific task, instead of writing in the main function, the logic, better you write it as a separate code, and that code you give a name, and that is called a function. I'll tell you how to define that function. Okay, so two types of functions are there: library functions or predefined functions. Then second one is user defined functions. Okay, so what are library functions? Those functions which are declared in the C header files. Already their code is defined and stored in a C library, and all of them are stored in the form of header files, such as scanf function, printf function, gets, puts, seal, floor, etc. A lot of functions are available. These are called library functions or predefined. That means whose code is already written and compiled, stored in a header files. We can just how we can use them by calling those functions. See, in C programming, you are writing a statement like printf. It is nothing but you are calling that printf function. You are writing statement scanf, nothing but you are calling that scanf function. Okay, so that means directly from your program it goes to stdio.h header file, and there is a program for that printf or scanf. It executes that code. That's why you can see something printed on the screen, or your scanner function is reading from the keyboard. Okay, so all this happens only when their code is executed. Okay, so their code is already defined and stored in the library. No, that's why they are called library functions. Then user defined functions. We can also define our own functions the same way from now onwards. They are called user defined functions. Okay, and once a function is defined, we can use it many times. Okay, so we'll see the advantages. Then you can appreciate the definition of functions or defining functions. Now, functions two types: library functions and user defined functions. That is how we can classify. Okay, right. So advantages of functions. Advantages of functions. Functions avoids rewriting same logic or code again and again in a program. Okay. Say for example, uh, finding square root of a number. You have written your own logic. Okay. So for such logic, 10 numbers. Now you want to find out a square root. So at 10 places you need to write the same logic again and again. Okay. So that is the disadvantage if you don't write it as a separate function. So better, because finding the square root is a separate task. So for that separate task, if you write a small piece of code, a function if you define, and then that avoids writing the same logic again and again. Okay, so we'll see an example there. Then length of source program can be reduced. Yes, undoubtedly the source code length will be reduced because you are avoiding rewriting the same code again and again. Then a function may be called any number of times in a program. Okay, so you can call, once a function is defined, you can call any number of times. There is no restriction, or it may be called by other programs also. You can use that function not only in this program, you can also use that in other programs also. Like we are using printf, scanf in every program. Okay, then it is easy to locate and isolate a faulty function for further investigation. That means if there is an error, debugging becomes easy. So immediately you can understand where is the error. Oh, in so and so function there is an error. So directly you can go to the function and you can locate the error and you can make corrections easily. These are the advantages of functions. Okay, so with example I'll show here. Now first I'll show an example without a function. Okay, so assume I have a piece of code here like this. Okay, so here what I am doing, I am asking the user to enter two numbers. He enters two numbers first, and then those two numbers are stored in A and B. Then I am writing a small piece of code which is in red. Okay, so whichever is greatest, I am storing that number in M. Okay, so then I printing on the screen max of percentage D and percentage D is equal to percentage D. So for these first two numbers, now I identified maximum number and I printed. Then again, same piece of task again I want to perform in the same program. So what I do, again I ask the user to enter two numbers. Okay, so for these two numbers again, to find the maximum, again I need to write the same logic again. See here, first I have written the logic in red for finding maximum of two numbers. Similarly, again I need to repeat this logic. Assume that this kind of logic, or for 10 different set of numbers I want to find out. So 10 times I need to write this code which is shown in red color. Okay, so four lines I need to repeat at 10 places. 10 into 4, 40 times I need to write this code. Getting? Okay, so that means same logic, same task here, finding the maximum, identifying the maximum of two numbers. Same logic I need to write again and again in the program. So what is happening? Duplication code there. Okay, now the same with function, if you define how the number of lines reduces, just see here. Now example with function, if I define, now my main function now looks like this. Okay, so here what I am doing, I'm asking the user to enter two numbers. I'm catching them in A and B. Now here what I am doing is I'm calling a function called as, I'm defining a function max A comma B. Now assume that I have defined a function called as max, which finds maximum of these two numbers. If you pass the two numbers as argument, it identifies which is maximum and it returns that value. So that I'm catching in M. Okay, so in single line, now I have called that function. Okay, so in one line, I'm getting my purpose done here. So then now M contains maximum of A and B. So then in next line, I can print M value, which prints the maximum. Again, if you ask the user, again enter two numbers. So C and D. Now again, I call the same function. Same function in single line. Again, I am getting my purpose done. Max C comma D. Okay, so I can say M is equal to max C comma D. So again, M contains maximum of these two numbers, C and D numbers this time. So if I print now maximum of C and D will be printed on the screen. Okay, so like this, for 10 different set of numbers, if you want to find out, just by calling this max and pass the arguments a comma b, c comma d, p comma q, x comma y, like this, you pass different numbers, then with single line you can find the maximum. That means you have defined a function, assume that. Okay, so how that function is defined, now your main ends here. Okay, so whenever you define a function max, here this is called function calling statement. Max a comma b, max c comma d, that means you are calling the function. That means somewhere you need to define the code, how it is finding. Further there should be a code, no? So this is how, after the main I define the function like this. Okay, so I say int space, my function name is max, and then two arguments. So here I can define my own names, int x comma y. So if x greater than y, return x, else return y. Now this piece of code, it is what it is returning. It is returning one number, either x or y. X and y it will get from this a, b or c, d. Okay, so I'll tell you the details. Now try to just understand at higher level the advantage of defining the function. So after, now there are two functions in my program. Till now we were writing only main program. Main function only we were writing. Now along with main, now you can also define other functions. What for we define function? For performing a particular task. If there is a particular task to be performed many times, better you write it as a separate function. Now see here, so previously in previous program, assume that at 10 different places we need to write this logic for 4 lines at 10 places, 40 lines of code I need to write. Okay, now you define with a function like this. Now see here, this function contains 4 lines here. I have defined only 4 lines of same 4 lines of code I have defined here, but how I am writing now at 10 different places. By writing only one line I can get my purpose. That means 10 lines plus 4 lines, 14 lines. Now the code is reduced to 14 lines. So 40 lines to 14 lines, now you have reduced your program length, reduced or not. Okay, so 14 lines means you have saved 26 lines of code. That is the advantage. Okay, now the question is how to define this function. What are the rules to be kept in mind for defining these functions? Only one rule: if there is a specific task to be performed in a program, then better you code it as a function. Okay, so how to code it as a function? Today we will discuss that. Okay, right. So this main is called a calling function. Here this is called calling function, and max is called called function. Called function. Now that means in main we are calling this max a comma b, max c comma d. We are calling the function. Who is calling this max? Main is calling. That's why main is called calling function. Which is called here? Max is the function which is called. Okay, so that's why this is called function. This terminology you have to remember. Calling function and called function. Okay, right. And this statement is called function calling statement. Max a comma b, max c comma d. Function calling statement, and this int max, int x comma y. Okay, so this whatever separately code you have written, this is called function definition. Okay, so this you should know how to define the function. Once you know how to define the function, you can call that function easily. Okay, right. Today we'll discuss that, how to define the function. Now the general format of defining a function. So first it begins with the return type, space, then function name, and within the parenthesis give some arguments. If it is taking some arguments, better you define those arguments. Then begin the function here, like your main, you need to begin the function. That means this is the beginning of the function here. Then you need some local variables here. You can declare your own variables in this function also. Okay, so then write the code, executable statements 1, 2, 3, 4. You can write here. And finally, if you want to return a value to the calling function, then you can do by using this return. Keyword is return, and within the parenthesis give the value or variable, whatever you want to return, that variable or the number you can pass as argument. Then from this function the value will be returned to the calling function. Okay, so this is the general form. Example we'll see here. Same how it can be defined. Now we defined one function now. Now this is our own function, which is satisfying the general form here. Okay, now see here, the return type is int here. Okay, so this int is called a return type here. Why this return type? That means this function is going to return some value or not. That we need to inform to the compiler or computer. Okay, so that is informed by using this return type. We have written a int main. Till now we have write in our programs. We have written int main. Then finally at the end we have written return 0. That means your main is going to return a value 0 to operating system. Okay, similarly, that is indicated here in function by using this return type int. That means it is going to return an integer number. That is what we are informing. What is my function name? Max is my function name. Okay, and these two are called arguments here, int x comma int y. So inside the function definition, you have to define these two arguments with their data types. That means you must tell to the compiler these two arguments are of which type: integer type, floating point type, character type. You must inform. Okay, so then this is called opening brace and closing brace. This is called body of the function. Okay, so inside the body of the function, you write the logic. What for you want to define this function? Okay, that logic you need to write here. So max is a function which returns maximum of two numbers. No, so now x and y are two numbers. So then how can I find a maximum of these two numbers? By comparing x, y. If x greater than y, then return x. X is greater, no? So that x value I am returning here. Otherwise, return y. Y is greater, so y value I am returning here. So then whoever calls this function, then these values will be passed to that function. Okay, so this is the format of defining a function. Okay, now there are different category of functions. That means we can define the function in different ways. Okay, so that you need to understand. Based on our requirement, we use one of these function categories. Okay, so we look at these categories first. We'll try to understand how these categories can be defined. First one is functions with arguments and no return value. That means function is taking arguments, but it is not going to return any value. That is first category. Then second one is functions with arguments and with return value. Function is taking some arguments and is also returning some value. Okay, so which is an example of previous one. See here max taking two arguments and also returning a value here. So second category, this belongs to second category. You can say function with arguments. That means within the parentheses, if there are some variables here, they are called arguments. That means it is taking some arguments, and if there is return statement, you can say that it is going to return a value. Second category type, function with arguments and with return value. Sometimes functions with no arguments, but some and returns a value with return value. Okay, so first we'll define each kind of these categories type of functions. Okay, so then based on our requirement for the given problem, we can define our own functions using one of these categories. Okay, so first functions with arguments and no return value. Function is taking arguments but not returning a value. What happens? First we'll see. When a function has arguments, that means when it is taking arguments, it does receive data from calling function. It receives data from calling function. Okay, so how it receives data from calling function, just see here in previous program. Now see here. So this is calling function, this is called function, I said. Now this function is called, main is calling this max here. Okay, now it is taking two arguments, a comma b. A comma b here. So a comma b means enter two numbers, 10, 20 I entered. So 10 is stored in a, 20 is stored in b. Okay, when I say max a comma b, it is not these two variables passed. The values present in these two variables will be passed. So those values immediately from here, the control comes to this max here. So a value will be stored in x, b value will be stored in y. That means from calling function, two numbers are passed to the called function. Okay, so that means this max is now receiving data from the calling function. That is what I was mentioning there. Okay, that is how the numbers are passed to that function internally. Okay, right. Now the see the first one, function with arguments. When function has arguments, it receives data from the calling function. Then similarly, when it does not return a value, now it is not going to return any value to the calling function. So the calling function does not receive any data from the called function. So that means from called function, there is no data passed to the calling function. Okay, so you should understand the difference between calling function and called function. Okay, right. So in effect, there is one-way data transfer between calling function and called function. That means only in one direction data will be passed from calling function to called function. This is happening when function has arguments and no return value. In first category, only one-way data transfer from calling function to called function data will be passed. Okay, right. Then how to define such a function? Program demonstrating function with arguments and no return value. Okay, so now we write a simple program which demonstrates function with arguments and no return value. Okay, so a simple program I'll demonstrate for such category here. So let us go back to code blocks. Yeah, so we'll take an empty file here, then we'll define. We'll define the function. Okay, so I'll show you how to define function, a separate function with arguments and no return value. Function with arguments and no return value. Okay, so now here what I am doing is I am trying to find average of two numbers. Finding average of two numbers is a separate task. So for that I define a separate function for that. Okay, so how I can define now, see here. So first include the header file here, stdio.h. Okay, so then what I do is I define the main function here. Main is our actual function to be defined. Okay, so C program should contain a main program, main function. It is the starting point of your program execution. Okay, so that's why every C program should contain a main function. Okay, so here average of two numbers. No, so what I do is I define two variables here, a comma b. Okay, so then I also define another variable to store average here. Okay, so this average float I don't require here. Okay, right. So two numbers. First ask the user to enter two numbers here. Enter two numbers. Okay, so then read the two numbers, say scanf. Now percentage d, percentage d. Okay, then say comma, where can I store address of A, comma, address of B, address of A, comma, address of B. Okay, so now I have two numbers with me, and you should think like this. I do not know how to find average of these two numbers. Average of these two numbers. So what I have to do, I have to take the help of a function which finds average given these two numbers and returns that average value. Okay, so this is how you should think. It's a function's best example I can tell you in real time. For example, you have a bike with you. Okay, so it got repaired. Then what you will do? You do not know how to repair. You have a bike with you, but you do not know how to repair it. So what you will do? You will take the help of a mechanic. You will take it to mechanic. Okay, so then what he will do? He repairs your bike and returns that bike to you back. Yes or no? Okay, so here you have a bike with you, but you do not know how to repair your bike. Okay, so then you are taking it to mechanic. That means you are calling a separate function. So what is the purpose of mechanic? His purpose is to repair bikes. That is the only thing he knows. He knows how to repair a two-wheeler. Okay, so he performs only that task. If you take a car to him, he cannot repair. If you take a car to him, he cannot repair. That means he performs only a particular task. Repairing of two-wheelers, repairing of bikes only he knows. That is his task. And if you ask him to repair an aeroplane, or if you ask him to repair a lorry or a bus, then he won't perform that task. The same way you should think in programming. Okay, so you have two numbers with you. You do not know how to find average of these two numbers. Assume. Okay, so then what you can do? You can define a function. That means assume that there is a function. Okay, so even you have to define that function also. Okay, so I am taking now I am calling a function average. I'm calling a function called as average. Okay, so which finds average of these two numbers. Okay, so average, then give the two numbers as arguments. Give the two numbers as arguments. Okay, so this function finds the average and prints, calculates the average and prints the average value. Okay, so now your main function task is over. No need to worry about this because you have your bike. When it got repaired, simply what you are doing, you are taking it to a specialized person. Function is also like specialized one, which performs a particular task. Okay, so here no need to worry about writing the logic. Just assume that there is a function called as average. This name also you should your own name. This name I'm defining my own name. Okay, I'm assuming that there is a function called as average. Okay, given two numbers to that, then it finds the average of those two numbers. Okay, so then over. So then just you write return 0. My task is over now. I have two numbers. Then I called the function. This is called function calling. This is called function calling statement. Now this function takes these two numbers as arguments and prints the average of those two numbers. That's it. Okay. So my main function is over. That's it. Okay. Now here, being a user here, programmer, now you have to define, because this is our own defined function, as we assumed that there is a function. Now you have to define your own function here. Okay, so this function you have to tell, otherwise your compiler gives error. Okay, so just see here what kind of error it gives. So first save the program. Okay, so function one.cik, function one.cik here. Okay, so if you build this program, just see here what kind of error it gives. See here, build failed, two errors. Okay, so undefined reference to average. Now see here, you are calling a function average, but there is no definition of this function. There is no definition of this function. Now see here, printf also predefined function. You are calling this function. These are also now function calling statements. You are calling this function printf and scanf. Okay, but where are those programs? They are already available in stdio.h. So you are linking your program with this C library header file stdio.h by using this hash include. Now there is a link between your program and stdio.h created by the compiler. Okay, so that's why you should see enter two numbers on the screen. Okay, having been say removed this, if you remove this stdio.h, now for this also we'll see what happens. Okay, so if I build this, okay, so two warning. Now see here, warning, incompatible implicit declaration of built-in function printf scanf. Now it is unable to locate where are printf and scanf functions. Okay, you called these functions, but where is the code for these functions? That is the meaning of this. Okay, because these are predefined functions. Sometimes even if you don't include, compiler automatically knows the location. That's why it links your program to that. That's why you are getting warning here. Sometimes if it doesn't know, then it gives as error. Getting, so our user defined function average and predefined functions, where they are, you must indicate. Okay, so for that purpose here we are including the name of the header file. So we are saying that include stdio.h. What happens when you write this? So during compilation time, what happened means this entire statement is removed, and this file stdio.h file contents will be added here. That's why your main program, before there are a lot of code after compilation that we cannot understand. That's why your program exe file length increases compared to your source code. Your source code contains only hash include stdio.h, but your exe file contains all the contents of this stdio.h included before main. Okay, right? So now it won't give error because we are telling that printf scanf are available in stdio.h. Similarly, you must tell, you called average function here, but it is unable to locate where is the code. So that's why it is our duty to define the function. We defined, you know. So here after main, now you define the function. Now you can see here, this function is taking only two arguments. It is not going to return any value. Okay, so to tell the compiler that my function is not going to return any value, you use the keyword called as return type as a void. Okay, so what is my function name? Average. Same name you have to use, average. Okay, so then now the two values are passed here in A and B. The values present in A and B, 10, 20 will be passed here. So you have to catch those values are coming here. So you have to catch them in two other variables, or you can use the same names here, int A comma int B here, int A and int B. Okay, right? Now you write the logic here. Okay, so here what I do, I define a local variable here. Okay, so which is a floating point type avg, I say. Okay, so local variable avg. Now the A and B values are available in these two variables. So now how can I find or calculate average of these two numbers? Now I can calculate average of these two numbers like A plus B by 2.0. You can say, because if you want to get floating point number, otherwise both integer 2.0 you say. Now it calculates average. Now because this average value, it is not going to return, so it has to print in the function itself. So the function itself prints the value, say average of average value is equal to, just I'm printing. Okay, so average value is equals to percentage b, and say new line, and percentage f, no, so average floating point type, no, percentage f comma avg. Where is it? In a variable called as avg. That's it. Now this is your function. So this is the definition of a function. Okay, now see here. So even if you define the function like this, now we'll compare. We called this function, this is the code, function code or function definition, and we are calling this function here. This is function call statement. Okay, now if you build this, what happens, just we'll see here. Okay, so zero errors, one warning it is giving here. Okay, so conflicting type for average. conflicting type for average it is saying, because see here, AVE, same name you should give here. Okay, so why this is giving some warning? Because there is a function defined average here. Okay, you are calling that average function. Is it the same? Both are same. So that means by the time the compiler comes here average, it doesn't know where is the definition of this average. Okay, so that's why what you need to do is you have to write this. This is called the function header. Okay, so this you have to write before the main. You have to write this, or in other way, you define the function first. If you define the function first, during compilation, what happens? It compiles this first. Oh, this is called average function. It is going to use, it understands. Then inside the main, when you call this average function, so then directly from here, it goes this part, this place, and execute this function. Okay, right? So now it won't give any error or a warning. See here, zero errors, zero warnings. Because the compiler now knows where is the function definition. Already it knows where is the function definition. Okay, so let me show the execution. Then after I tell you all the details present in this. There are a lot of details present in this. Okay, so now see. Enter two numbers it is asking. Okay, so it is asking the user to enter two numbers. So now I enter two numbers. Okay, so 10, 20 I enter. Now you can see average value is equal to 15.000. Floating point number it has printed here. Okay, now what is happening here? That we need to understand. So this is an example for function taking arguments but not returning any value here. Okay, so that's why the function definition we write as a void here. Okay, so let me go back to PPT. There you can understand what is happening there. Right. So what I do is I copy this code here. Now, is it required to define the function first, sir? You can ask. Okay, first the function to be defined, then the main to be defined. Is it the case? No, you can define main first and you can define the function next. Okay, so for example like this, because we start writing main first. Okay, so then we assume that we have a function, we called that function, and then after we define the function afterwards. If you define this function, now see, this is function definition, and in this is called function header, and this is called within the parentheses whatever is present, this is called function body. This is called. Okay, so then this header you have to copy here. Okay, so I'll tell you all the details. Okay, now see here. So when you define the function afterwards here, okay, so then this header you need to include here, because the compiler should know there is a function. Okay, so that's why what we do is we define this header as it is here, then end this with a semicolon. Okay, so this is called as a prototype. We call this as a prototype. This we call it as a function prototype. Prototype means the function does not give any actual details. See, when you are constructing a very big shopping mall, okay, so on engineer's table, you will find a small model of that building which is going to be constructed. That is called the prototype. Okay, that means It only shows the outer details, how the building is going to be. By looking at that small uh, wooden board model on his table, you can come to know, oh, this is how the building is going to be look like in future. Okay, so inner details it won't give, only the outer details it tells. Similarly, that is called a prototype. Similarly, in function, we write this prototype to tell the compiler that this is what the function is. What details we are telling? The name of the function is average, which is not going to return any value by using this void here. Okay, which is taking two arguments here, like a and b. These are the two arguments it is going to take. Only these outer details we are providing here. Then compiler understands. So whenever you call, this is called a function calling. This is called as a function calling statement. Function calling statement. Okay. So whenever you called this function, it matches with this. Is it name same? Average? Yes. Is it two arguments? A comma b? Two arguments? Yes. Integer type? Yes. Okay. So then whenever you call this function here, from here directly the control jumps to this function definition. From here it leaves this main and directly it comes to this function definition. Wherever it is, it comes here. Okay. So here what is happening is this. Now see, I'll tell you, when you declare int a comma b inside the main, for a memory is allocated like this. Okay. For b also memory is allocated. It is b. Okay. And whenever you say enter two numbers, for example, I entered 10 in a and 20 in b. 10 and 20 will be stored in a and b like this. And whenever you call this function, please understand this here. Average a comma b. Okay. So here a comma b. When you say within this main function, this a and b is are accessible in this average function. Please remember this. Okay. So there are two copies of a and b inside the memory. This a and b are known to this main function. This a and b are known to this average function. Okay. So that's why you can give same a and b here, or you can give some other name also, x and y also you can give. Okay, no need of writing same. But if you write same names, you can get an illusion that the same variables I am going to use here. Okay, so you can also use here x comma y. You can say x comma y. So what happens here? A value will come and stored into x. This will become x here, and b value 20 will come and stored in a y. So this will become y here. Okay. So this x and y are local to this function. That means they are accessible only within the function. So float average. Average is equal to x plus y by 2. If you say, then it prints the value, because it is not going to return this average value. So first category type we are defining here. Okay. So then the result must be printed only inside the function. So that's why I'm printing the value here. Average value is equal to, I am printing here. So after completing this function executed, when it reaches closing, that means the function ends here. Okay. So from here directly again it goes back to the next statement of average, because see here, from here it entered. Okay. So after this again it goes back to the main function. So the next statement, whatever present after this function call, then it goes there and executes return 0, then close. Now your program ends. That's how. And when the control leaves from here to the main function, so what happens means, because these are x, y, and average are local variables, then the memory for these variables will be removed. Okay, so they are removed from the memory. Now they are no more available because these two variables are visible only within this average function. So that's why once the control leaves this function, okay, so these will be immediately removed from the memory by the computer automatically. Okay, so now when control comes to main, now you can see A and B available visible to this main only. That is what happens here. Okay, so function with the arguments and no return value. No return value means there is no equal to symbol before this function name. Please remember. Okay, right. So this is first category function definitions. We'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll see function with arguments and with return value. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me take the attendance. Forty-eight members present. Please wait. Okay. So please wait. Let me take the attendance. 48 members. Yeah. Any questions? I have some conversation here.